Hello everyone and welcome to Daisy's Delicious Moments. It's Easter and this is what we are going to be using our cooking skills. So today I'm going to demonstrate an Easter inspired dish, so stay tuned. So this dish is called creamy prawns in spinach, and I'm going to explain the ingredients. We have some prawns here, we've got some double cream, or you can use whipping cream, we have some spinach, and we have an onion which I'm going to chop, and we have some grated cheese. So this is a really simple dish. I think what takes the longest is just peeling the prawns. The rest of it is so easy to make, and I've made it so many times. It's a really nice starter. And I've made it for Christmas, Easter, and any other time whenever I want, basically. So let's get into this. We'll chop in an onion first. Now, this dish, I first came across it in a very famous restaurant in Gibraltar called La Mamela in La Caleta, which sadly is no longer there. And this is where I first had this dish, and this is my version of it. So we're going to first just chop the onion, and we don't even have to chop it finely if we don't want to, because we're going to puree the onion, because every time I've had this dish, I've never actually seen onions in the dish. I've just want the taste really, so I've never seen pieces of onion in this dish. So we're just chopping the onions. I've got a pan here with a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to add the onions in here, and we're going to start to saute the onions. And like I said, you don't have to chop it finely because we are going to puree the onions, so it doesn't really matter how you chop them. So I'm just going to add that in there. That's it. So I'm going to start to saute the onions. I've just put it on a high heat to get the oil hot, and then I'm going to put it down and just get it to be, doesn't even have to be browned, just transparent. So while that's cooking, I'm going to show you how to peel a prawn in case you don't know. So basically what I do is I'm just going to take the head off, and then we're just going to take the whole, we're going to peel the whole thing off. And if you're going to ask, wondering how many prawns I use, I just used a box and it said it has something between 24 to 30 prawns. But it depends how many people you're having round or how many people are going to eat this. And then what I do is I take the middle part off, which is the gut really. You don't have to actually, but it's just, you can. So I take it off. And there we go. That's your prawn, that's peeled. Okay, so now the onions have cooked, they're soft. It's a wonderful smell in the kitchen. So now what we're going to do is we're going to puree the onions, because as I said, every time I've had this dish, I've never seen onions in it, but it does give a lovely taste to the dish. So just scooping it out, and we're going to puree it with nothing. We're not going to add water or nothing, we're just going to puree the whole thing. So here's my trusty blender, that's the name, where I'm going to puree the onions. Like I said, it's going to be noisy. I'm not going to add any water, I'm just going to puree it just as it is. And you might have to take it out a bit and push down the onions that come up the side, because you don't want to find any onion bits in this dish. So I think that's fine. Give it a good shake, because you're going to get some onion in there and you want to get it all in. So it's such a lovely flavour, adds such a lovely flavour. So there it is, it's all pureed. So now what we're going to do is we are going to add the cream and the spinach. Now I've used frozen spinach, which I just defrosted in the microwave, and then you want to get all the liquid out. So I passed it through a sieve, but you can use fresh spinach if you like, and just sort of saute it a bit before you add it to the cream. So I'm going to add the cream first. So this is 300 of the cream, but you can add, I'm going to use 600, so what, 300 here, 300 there. But then again, it depends how big you want this dish to be, so you might want more or less. I'm using whipping cream, you can use double cream. I don't use single because it ends up being too liquidy. So I'm now going to add my spinach just straight in. This is how easy this dish is. The hardest part is actually peeling the prawns. The rest is so easy. I'm going to put the heat up. I'm going to put it up high again just to get the cream to get hot, because we don't want it to boil, otherwise it can separate. And I'm also going to add my prawns. Now, just make sure when you're making this dish that the prawns have to be fresh and shelled, because if you buy the frozen type that hasn't got shells, it just doesn't give the same taste to this dish. It doesn't do it justice. So let's just wait for the cream to warm up, and we can start adding also our pureed onions in there too. I'm just going to pour that in, scoop it out and put it in there. So I've just put down the heat because we don't want the cream to boil and then it's going to separate. So we have to be a bit careful with the cream, but that doesn't mean you've got to be scared. So I've got all the onions in there now, just a bit more, and I'm going to give it a good mix, and we're just going to wait for the prawns to cook. And once the prawns are pink, it's done. And then we're going to season it with some salt. That's it. Start mixing that in. Just put the heat up a bit. I'm just going to wait for the prawns to turn pink, which happens in a few minutes. They cook so easy. So as you can see, this is a really easy dish and it's so delicious. Everybody loves it. It's a winner in Christmas. Everybody in my family asks me to make it as a starter on Christmas Day. And it's good for Easter, obviously, because it's got the fish, you've got your prawns. But you can have it whenever you want, it doesn't have to be Easter. It has to have spinach in the dish. You can have prawns au gratin, I guess, but this one has the spinach in it. Already turning pink. And then you know when it's cooked, it also curls up even more. The star of this dish is bread, because you've got to scoop up the sauce with the bread. That is the star of this dish, I would say. Not even the prawns, it's the bread. And you know, us Gibraltarians, not so good for the hips, but we love the bread. So it's just about turning pink and almost done. Yeah, it smells really nice in this kitchen. Already did with the onions, but now it's like, this is actually my son's favorite dish. So he's asked me to save him some for when he comes back from work. And the final thing we're going to do, it's just about cooked really, is we'll stick it in the oven. Just grill it, because we're going to put some cheese on top, and that's going to give it that extra, that's so nice. We're going to add some salt in a minute, and we're going to taste it for the seasoning. So I'd say that is more or less done, because you can see here how the prawns have curled up, and they're more pink. They're not so see-through and transparent as they were before. So you can see there how it's cooked now. So it's time for the seasoning. I don't add any pepper, I just add some salt. So we're going to taste it. Pretty sure it's going to need some salt, but let's just taste some. Yes, it needs some salt. So I've got some salt of your choice. This is some pink Himalayan salt. Add what you want, as much as you like. So here's a little bit of salt. We're going to just mix that in. Okay, let's try it now. That is perfect. Amazing. So as you can see, that's how easy it is. It's just so easy to make, and it's a showstopper. Everybody loves it. And what I like about this dish, it's so creamy that if you wanted to, you could cook some pasta and put it in there, and then it becomes a dish in itself, not a starter if you don't want to. Okay, now we're going to put it in this trusty cazuela. It's seen a few dishes, as you can see. I put l'arroz con leche in there as well, and this, put it in there. Gamba bilbil, also stick it in there because it's such a good dish, that one. So we're just going to pour the whole thing in. Need a bit of muscle to lift the pan. It's okay, I've got spinach in here, so give me muscle. So there we go. So just because I'm the cook, I'm allowed to do this. I'm going to be naughty. I'm going to get some bread, and I'm just going to scoop some of that lovely sauce. I'm not going to let that go to waste. I deserve it because I've made this, right? It's amazing. So I've put it in my trusty cazuela, and now we're going to add some cheese. Add the cheese that you like. This has grated mozzarella and grated cheddar, mild cheddar. Just add the cheese that you prefer. We're just going to add, I like to add a generous amount because I just love cheese. I could like have fondue every day, I think. Probably wouldn't be very good for my waistline, but I love it. So here we have the cheese. I like to get it everywhere. That's it. So here we have the dish. I'm now going to stick it in the oven. We're just going to grill it. We just want to get the cheese to be melted and browned. That's all. And that might just take about less than 5 minutes properly. So come with me. I'm going to pop it in the oven. There we go. So I think it's done now. We don't want it to burn, so let's get it out. Got my gloves on. It's very heavy. Look at that. You can hear the bubbling. It's absolutely lovely. And I've got my bread, like I said. So I did have a little sneaky bit before, but I didn't have a prawn. So I want a gamba. So let's get some. Cut it in. Let's get some of the cheese. Look at that cheese, how it's melting. Oh dear, this is amazing. Let's get that on the plate. There we go. So this is looking absolutely amazing. I wish you were here to smell it, to taste it. I'm going to taste it now. I'm going to taste one of the prawns. And it is delicious, absolutely delicious. We need a bit of bread though, don't we? So let's just dip some of the cheese there and the bread and the sauce. This is the showstopper. We've got to do this. And I love this dish because it brings people together, because everybody starts fighting for the last bit of prawn, the last bit of the sauce. It's absolutely amazing. It's a showstopper. Try it for Easter. You won't regret it. So after that starter, I wanted to give you something a little bit sweet. This is a traditional Gibraltarian dessert, torrija. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's sweet, it's got cinnamon, it's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna show you some of the ingredients. Bread. Now, sometimes you can leave it out for it to go a little bit hard. We don't want it to be so flimsy because it's got to be, we've got to work it so much. It's going to be fried, it's going to be dipped in syrup. So we don't want it to be very, very soft either. So we've got the bread here. We need eggs. I'm using 4, but maybe I might need some more. So I'll just see how that goes. We need some milk. I'm going to put some cinnamon right now in the milk because we're going to mix that in there. And once we fry all of this, we are then going to dip it into some syrup. So let's just mix all of this in. Cinnamon doesn't mix very well with the milk, but that's okay because once we start dipping everything in, it will mix in very well. And now let's just mix in some eggs. Like I said, I'm using 4, but it depends how much bread you use. You might want to use more eggs. It's up to you. I like to mix my eggs very, very well. Okay, I think that's done. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a pan here of sunflower oil or vegetable oil, whatever you prefer. And I am going to put the heat on, let the oil get hot, and then we're going to start frying the bread. I'm just going to cut the bread. There we go. And I'm going to cut this one too. This is my daughter and I, we love torrijas. This is a tradition. My mum used to make it in Easter. She's getting a bit old, so I'm doing it now. So it's on me now. So I'm just waiting for the oil to get hot. If you want to know if it's hot or not, just add a little bit of the egg maybe. And when it starts to sort of sizzle, then you know it's ready. So I don't want to start dipping it yet, otherwise it's going to get very soggy. So then once we have fried it, I'm going to put it here to drain, so I don't want it to be so oily. So I've got that ready there. And I've got my tongs here so I can turn them around. It tends to be really, really messy, but it's worth it because it tastes so nice. And like I said, that dish we made before, you can put pasta in it and make it into a main dish. And then this, you don't have to have it for dessert. You can have it for breakfast. It's kind of like French toast. So you can have it whenever you want, really. So I'm just dipping it in the cinnamon, and then I'm going to put it in the egg, and I'm going to see how the oil is in a minute. Yep, you can hear it sizzling. So let's do some more. And we're just going to repeat this basically until we've finished all our bread. I'm going to put some more cinnamon there. Everybody wants some of this, so my sister wants some. I'll probably give some to my brother and his kids, and my daughter absolutely loves it, so I won't have this for long. It will be gone. You can see it's sizzling away. Not quite ready yet. We just want it to get browned. see there it's already looking browned. It's turning it over. It doesn't have any sugar at this point, as you've noticed. It's just the eggs and the milk and the cinnamon. But once it's all fried up, I'm going to dip it into some syrup, and that's going to make it really sweet. So right now in my kitchen, you can really smell the cinnamon. It smells really nice. I love the smell of cinnamon. It's just, I don't know, comforting, homely. I don't know, one of the best smells for me, cinnamon. Just about done now. So I think I'm going to start taking the first one out. And as it goes on, you'll see they'll turn even browner because the cinnamon starts to sort of mix in with the bread, so it turns even browner. So we're just going to do this quickly because the oil is very hot. There. Now, I know this is messy. I know it takes a bit of time, but you do it for the love of your family, don't you? I mean, my daughters begged me to make this, and my sister said, save me some. So you do it for the love of the people that you like. It's messy, but it's worth it. Okay, everyone, so here we have the mountain of torrijas. It's not quite done yet. We have to dip it in the syrup now, but it's already smelling amazing. So let's start. So what I'm going to do is, you can make your own syrup, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Don't complicate things. So I've got some syrup here. Open this, and I'm just going to pour some syrup in here and some hot water to dilute it a bit. And then we're going to dip the torrijas one by one. Or no, we can do it all together if it's big enough. And that is going to make it so sweet and amazing. Because remember I told you when we were making the batch in the beginning, there was no sugar because we didn't need it because we're going to do this. So I'm using all of it, but you don't have to. It depends how many torrijas you're doing. So I'm using all of it. And I'm going to dilute that with a bit of water. Like I said, you can make your own. Some people add lemon, and I don't like the lemony taste, so I'm not going to do that. Some people dip it in honey and water. Don't like that either. So this is my version. It's just syrup and water. And you can even add a cinnamon stick if you like at this point too. So I'm just going to dilute that a bit, mix it around, and we're going to start pouring that in there. Now, what actually happens at this point when you fried them, they can look a bit ugly because you get bits of egg. So what I do is I just get scissors and I just cut off these edges because it looks a bit ugly. So it's a bit more presentable. So I'm going to start dipping them in now and let it soak in. I can fit in a few. So I'm just taking off those bits that don't look so nice. Dipping it in there. Might not look nice, but I can tell you it's absolutely amazing. And it smells lovely. Now this is what I love about cooking, so it's my passion, is that it's like a stress relief for me. I just really enjoy it and I get lost in what I'm doing because I love it. I think since I've been a child, I used to pretend I was on a cooking show and I'd talk to myself while I was doing things. I think one of my favourite things to do as a child was to get my mum's cooking books and just go through them and look at the recipes. It's just always been a passion of mine. So I'm just taking them out. I think they've soaked enough, and we're just going to repeat the whole process until we've got no more left. So I'm just scooping them out right now, and they're so tender that they're even almost breaking. And again, just cutting off the edges because they don't look very tidy. You can already smell that wonderful smell. I think it's that Easter smell because it always reminds me when I was a child, my mum would be making them. And it just reminds me of Easter. You know how you have the Christmas smell? This is the Easter smell. And my mum's getting a bit old now, so it's now my job. It's handed down to me. My son absolutely loves cooking, but he loves more food. He's really into his meats, and he does it with this passion. It makes me smile when he loves it. He's going to be 19, he loves it, and it's actually, I think, like, cooking is a skill that everybody should learn, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and you don't have to, you know, spend money on loads of expensive ingredients. I think the most simplest foods sometimes are the best, and just like chips and fried chips and egg in olive oil. Can't get more simple than that. And it's the olive oil that makes it special, isn't it? It gives it that special taste. I also wanted to mention that I've used sliced bread. A lot of people use the French kind of bitolede kind of bread. I don't like it because I just find it too much bread. But a lot of people use the thicker bread. That's it. When my kids get home, they're gonna have a nice treat when they get home from work. And I love the way how Easter food brings families together as well. And how there's so many different traditions for Easter, traditional different foods. In UK, there's a lot of lamb, and here it's a lot of fish. So this is the syrup that's left over, and as you can see, it does have a little bit of sort of crumbs in it, but I'm not going to throw this away. So what I'm going to do is pass it through a sieve, and then later on I'll go pouring it on top so that the juices really soak up. So I'm just going to pour some of that there. And the crumbs will stay behind. We don't want that. That's enough. And also you could just give it to anybody individually when they have their own. And what I like to do is really sneaky. I have the ones at the bottom because that has all the juice in there. So there we have it, our beautiful torrijas, typical Gibraltarian dish. I hope this doesn't die down with anybody. Keep making them. We've got to remember our recipes because it brings us together. It's our tradition. Before I try some, let's put a little bit more on there. Oh my God, that is absolutely wonderful. Totally fat-free, don't worry. Dentists love this because they're still in business. So I'm just going to try some now. Absolutely amazing. I can tell you, this isn't going to last long. It's going to go soon. So thank you for having me in your living room today. And I hope you try some of these recipes, and I hope you have a great, amazing Easter.